Stevens in an absolute world of trouble. There's the river card. It's a big old blank. And Gary Jones, Stevens played a great game today, but he could not beat McCririck when it counted.
No, absolutely not. There was a couple of key pots early in the middle of the game where Matthew Stevens basically just ran into John McCririck and his notorious luck and his strength. So John McCririck now is such an odds-on favourite to win this because he's got the chips and he's got the aggression.
Down to two, mano a mano. If we look at that last pot one more time, you can see that McCririck was best from start to finish. Stevens' cards looked pretty, and they both made a straight on the turn, but McCririck's was higher. So the Broadway 10 Jack Queen King Ace straight will send Matthew Stevens to the side pocket and out the door.
Pretty pleased, you know. If you told me that at the start, I'd have been happy, but a little bit disappointed because I think I had a chip lead at one point, but that's the way it goes.
Well, it's all come down to this, 1-on-1. And Gary, how do you handicap this?
Well, I think you probably have to make
raise to 40,000.
John at least a 5-to-1 favourite now, not just because of his chips, but also because of his aggressive style. He's going to be putting the pressure on Ed all the time. And with the blinds so big, he's going to have no chips very quickly, and he's going to have to get lucky in a series of pots to really have a chance to beat him.
Yeah, first head-up hand, give it to McCririck. He raised with the ace-jack, and Giddens laid it down. Head-to-head poker. It's a little strange. The small blind acts first on the button. And then after the flop, the big blind will act first. Look at this head-to-head matchup, though. McCririck with about a 6-to-1 chip advantage, and just going from peak to peak. And look at how many more hands he's won than Ed Giddens. 2.5 times as many.
Absolutely. He's been in a lot more as well.
They're back and forth here. Giddens has just about doubled up since play began, but he's got about a 4-to-1 chip disadvantage, which means that it'll take him 2 double throughs to get the lead.
Absolutely. And I'm willing to bet we see a 40,000 here from John.
40.
McCririck's got a bit of a cushion. 40 all in. John says,
yeah,
I call. So it's a raise, a re-raise, and an all in.
Oh,
and McCririck with the ace high. Oh, Giddens has got a stronger ace, and he's in a strong position to double through again, Gary.
Absolutely. He's finding the hands at just the right time, and John's finding enough to play with him. So we could be in a good spot, especially with a flop like that.
This pot is 240,000, and there's almost no reason to deal the turn and river because Giddens is a virtual certainty to double through.
It's got to be a king-king turn cards here, otherwise
10-queen, I guess.
Yeah, 10-queen or an ace-ace.
There's a few possibilities, but not many.
That's ended it.
And now, McCririck drawing dead. River to come.
I think we can play now.
But it's immaterial. And the last card changes nothing. And Gary, that is going to give Ed Giddens 240,000. He is not that far behind.
Absolutely. I think he's caught a couple of hands at just the right time, Ed, and he's now actually in quite a decent position. John McCririck has got to be a little more careful now on whether he wants to double him up. The next time he plays with him, he'd better make sure he's got him by the short and curlies, because otherwise he's going to lose his chip advantage.
2 10s, ace-jack. McCririck says, who's shuffling these cards anyway? Look at that hand one more time. When the chips went in, Giddens way in front. They both had an ace, but the jack played. And with 2 jacks on board, it was an absolute certainty. 3 jacks with an ace-king beats McCririck's 2 jacks only. And this head-up match has become very close all of a sudden. Ed Giddens might start thinking he can win this thing.
Absolutely. He's now feeling pretty confident. He's going to be on the he's going to have the forward momentum, and John McCririck's going to be a little bit on the back foot. We'll just have to see if Ed can use that momentum and start moving forward.
And is McCririck letting things slip away? Gary,
Seems like it. I've actually liked the way. I don't think he's done much wrong since we've got heads up. I think Ed's actually just picked up a good series of hands and caught a good rush of cards.
73 hands, and it's nearly even. Barely a split between these two, and Ed Giddens found a face card on the button here.
Call.
Says, let's see a flop.
Check.
20 apiece. McCririck with the suited connectors, 6-7 of spades. Three to come, and that first card, top pair for Ed Giddens. That's the horseman to speak first.
Okay.
He's been
40,000.
very aggressive, Gary, when he's missed the flop.
Absolutely relentless.
Raise
Absolutely
all in.
relentless.
But Ed
Once
has
again, flopped the top pair and stuck all his chips in. John's going to think he's taking advantage of him here, but he's not. He's getting the hands every time, John.
yeah, Giddens has won a lot of pots without having to show his cards, but he has not won any with the worst of it, has he, Gary?
No.
He's had the goods every time. And McCririck, geez, he might start thinking he's being battered about.
Absolutely, and we have a new chip leader. I think for the first time in the tournament, Ed's actually got all the chips. So
600,000 in play, and Giddens has got 300 and then some.
Small blind.
What I'd like to see here is John adapt his style a little bit. I don't think Ed's going to be much of a bluffer. So when we're playing the flop, when you miss, John, I think a check might be in order on the flop, and then try your steal on the turn. Because if Ed's actually hit any of the flop, he's probably going to let you know about it.
Giddens way in front here before the flop this hand. A king high. King-queen suited, he's taking a free flop.
Absolutely. But he's it's been working for him every time he's hit, and every time he's got some chips off Mr. John McCririck.
Top pair for
Check.
Giddens.
Check.
He's living and dying with that top pair. McCririck not going for it. Turn to come. Giddens with the two queens.
I like the fact that Ed did a little check there.
Check.
That may have scared Giddens. Checked again, and McCririck not going for it. He says, I ain't bluffing anymore. And Gary, that may have given McCririck enough to call with. He's made a pair on the river.
Might have let him catch up a bit to get
50,000.
50,000.
This has actually put McCririck in a very bad position. He wanted no part of this, and now has made a pair on the river to get tempted.
He'd already decided he wasn't going to play, and then all of a sudden, bang, he's involved.
Ed just won't let him out. This would be a very good fold. 50,000 is a pretty big bet, and if McCririck plays it,
We'll see here. You've got me, I'm sure. See ya.
Call. Call.
call, says John.
That's the problem with being a bluffer yourself. You think everyone else is bluffing all the time.
So Ed Giddens plays the top pair very slow and finally ekes a call out from John McCririck on the river to take 50,000 from him. Two queens over two fives.
I didn't think Ed had it in him to slow play the hand that well. He played it very good.
Slow playing has been the order of the day. That's how they've been beating McCririck. Matthew Stevens had a little bit of that, and now Ed Giddens doing likewise with the queens.
It's 20.
Giddens has gotten his share of cards since they've gotten head up, Gary.
Absolutely. We've seen him turn over some monsters and hit every time. So
It's not that easy to make top pair, is it?
no, not at all. So he's actually done very good.
And looking at that hand, Giddens must have loved his cards before the flop, but when the lady hit the board, he was well in front. 5 on the river made McCririck a pair, but way too late. Two queens beating two fives for the money.
I've got about 4.
I haven't got 2.
No.
Because you've got nearly 5.
Tickets printed head to head. And Ed Giddens with about a 2-to-1 chip lead over John McCririck. Who thought this would happen? And look at that! Giddens just picked up the bullets.
Call.
Oh, I like the way he's played that. It's dangerous flat calling with aces. Always slow playing aces is a dangerous thing, but he's given himself every chance to actually get a good pot here.
John McCririck hasn't bit yet. but it could only be